Well, prynhawn da, croeso. Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. Could I remind members to make sure that their phones are turned silent for the duration of the meeting. And when you're raising your hands, please use your electronic hand if you're viewing it via Teams. And for those members in the chamber, I'll raise my own hand. Thank you. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Does anybody have any declarations of interest to do with the items on the agenda today, please?
I see no indications, Chair.
Thank you, Tom. Agenda item 3, minutes of the previous meetings. The minutes are attached at pages 5 to 16 of the agenda pack for the minutes. Does anybody have any issues with the minutes of the meetings, please?
I see no indications.
In that case, I am happy to propose the minutes. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Rob Jones. Thank you, Rob. For agenda item 4, pre-decision scrutiny, we're going to move to the Cabinet Board agenda. We have decided that we're scrutinising items 7, 8 and 12 on today's agenda. Item 7, Registry Office Celebrant Service, which is listed on page 7 to 24 of the Cabinet agenda. Officers, would you like to add anything additional to the report?
No, thank you, Chair. Obviously, the report before members today gives an overview of a new service that we'll be looking to perform via our register office and moving into the area of civil celebrants, which is a civil funeral service. Happy to take any questions that members may have on this particular report, Chair, but hopefully the information in the report will be helpful for members to understand the proposal.
Thank you, Craig. I'm moving over then to take questions from members, and I'm starting off first with Councillor Rob Jones, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The report I agree with, and it's a well-run service, and I'm glad to see that they are expanding. However, I have concerns in relation to the IIA on the appendix. From pages 15 right through to 19, items 3, 4, 5 and 7 and number 10 are including that there is no impact of this report. Now, we're always told to pay cognizance to the IIAs, and yet in the matrix, it's shown as a positive impact. I'm thinking that there may be a printing error here or something that's gone wrong with the matrix, but one conflicts with the other, and perhaps Mr. Griffiths can clarify the situation in relation to it, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Over to Craig, please.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jones. You're absolutely correct on this occasion. What we think has happened is maybe an inadvertent gone awry here with the box ticking that we were putting it in. It should, of course, be a neutral impact, not necessarily a positive. I think the way we've created this, obviously, we've given the narrative ultimately in the report that there is no impact to any protected characteristics, for example, and some of the other factors that we ask members to take into account. So in reality, the tick box should have been in the neutral column, not necessarily the positive one, which we have at present. So thank you for picking that up. We'll make sure that that element is recorded in the minutes as well, just for future reference, and that's there. And I'll make sure as the members are aware and officers that when we are taking these reports, given the importance now that we have on the IIA, and obviously we require members to take those elements into account as part of the decision making, we'll make sure that the information is always corresponding in that regard. So thank you for flagging that up.
Thank you, Craig. Is that okay, Councillor Jones? Thank you. Councillor Carol Clement Williams, please.
Thanks, Chair. Firstly, I'd like to say that I know that Sharon and her team started work on income generation in the registry office a number of years ago, and they've done a marvellous job. So I think it's important to thank people when there's a job well done. So I just wanted to put that on record. But also, coming back to the impact assessment, really, Craig, is there a need, do you think, for officers to have more training in this? Because when councillors had training on the impact assessments, it was drummed into us by a very, very lovely lady that these are extremely important. They're very, very important to make sure that the decisions that we are making are the correct ones. So is there a need for training?
Thank you, Councillor Clement Williams. Bring in Craig, please.
Absolutely, Councillor Clement Williams. Taken on board, we're going to be looking at a sort of work programme in respect of training, in respect of IIAs. It's already been on the agenda to look at taking it forward because obviously we've got new officers who are now employed from the council who are going to be working on these, and we are working with Karen Furlow's corporate policy team to look at how we embed that training and those principles into the work that officers are delivering when they're bringing the reports then forward. So it's already on the agenda and we'll be taking that forward as well.
Thank you,
Chair,
Craig.
can I just say thank you to
come back?
Craig? Yes, please. Just to say thank you to Craig for that. Because as you know, if we're challenged on a point where the impact assessment has been completed incorrectly, we don't want that to crop up. So I very much welcome Craig's answer to that one.
Thank you, Councillor Clement Williams. Are there any other questions on this item, please? I can't see any indications. The recommendations are listed on page 11 of the Cabinet Agenda Pack. I am happy to propose them. Can I have a seconder, please?
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Can members please indicate if they wish to abstain?
I see no indications of abstentions.
Thank you, Tom. Members, if you do not indicate to the contrary, then I will take it that this decision is supported to Cabinet.
I see no indications to the contrary. This has been commended.
Thank you, Tom. Moving along to item 8. Neath Talbot Welsh Church Act Trust Fund Annual Report 2022 to 23 on pages 25 to 42. Officers, would you like to add anything additional to the report?
Thank you, Chair. If I could just bring in one aspect here. Page 31 of the report, we have a list of applications that the fund trustees have approved. It was picked up that there are some information missing within that table. So if I could just take members to the table that is on that document. So the year approved 29-2020, we've got the rectorial benefits of. It should actually read Aberavon St Mary's Church, and the purpose of that particular programme was to preserve and maintain fabric of the building. And the 2022-2023 proposal, Sardis English Baptist Church, just to confirm that's in Resolven. So just for the sake of clarity, just to confirm that's on the record for members.
Thank you, Craig. We'll move to questions next then, please. I'm going to start it off, and it starts on page 25. There's a table on page 25, and being a former mathematician, I've noticed that it shows a comparison between 2021-22 and 2022-23. Now, the first column for 21-22, actually, when you add and take away the income and expenditure, it does come to 613,586. Unfortunately, on the other side, on 2022-23, it actually doesn't come to that. It doesn't come to 688,205. It actually comes to 619,404. Having read the report, I can see that the reason for this has been the revaluation of assets. And can I make a suggestion that we include the revaluation in this table, please? Craig.
Absolutely, Chair. We'll make sure that Hugh Jones, Chief Finance Officer, and the team who deal with this particular fund are aware of that. So when it comes back to members in the future, it'll just be highlighted then, obviously, any re-evaluations that have taken place. So I'll make sure that message is passed on.
Thank you, Craig. Councillor Jones, would you like to come back in? Sorry, would you like to come in?
Oops, sorry, I couldn't find the right button then. Yeah, it's just to reiterate what you picked up, Chair. We do, again, I think it's a matrix that those documents are complete, but we've just not seen them electronically. But the one that really concerned me was the 2004-2005. That's a heck of a long time. And should that still remain there?
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Craig?
Thank you, Councillor Jones. We have checked that absolutely the money is still available for use ultimately when it is ready. It hasn't actually been drawn down by the organisation, but it remains as a valid application on the books. If it was the case, obviously, that the organisation involved did wish to claim it down, we may need to do obviously some additional due diligence, obviously, given the time constraints ultimately that have moved on. But we have confirmed that money is still available if that organisation ultimately does decide then want to try and claim it. But to date, that they've chosen not to.
Thank you, Craig. Councillor Jones, you happy with that?
Yeah, if I can just follow back. Does that organisation still exist? Do we know? Has any diligence been done since that?
I'm just spoken to our chief accountant on that, Councillor Jones. We're not aware of at the moment because obviously we haven't had any contact from them in recent times. But when we look as part of the process throughout the course of this year, obviously for any future reports and part of our annual appraisal, we should be able to then address that. And if it's the case that that organisation no longer exists, that money then can be removed from the system as being no longer capable of being claimed. But there hasn't been any due diligence carried out. It's just remained on the book, so to speak, obviously as an application that has been made in the duration of the fund.
Thank you, Craig. Councillor Jones, would you like to come back?
No, that's fine, Chair. As long as diligence will be done going forward, that's fine.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Can I bring in Councillor Carol Clement-Williams, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, back to the point that you raised about the table on page 25. Yeah. I just think as a summary, it could be better. It's got income, for example. You've got to go all the way through the report and into the appendix before you see that the income's coming from investment. I just think that it could be more explanation in that report. But I believe it's going to be looked at anyway. So, but I think just if somebody is looking at this document and wants a very quick overall view, my first question when I read this was, well, where's that £9,000 come from? Or nearly £10,000 come from? So just if it's a summary, it would be good if it was explained where it came from.
Thank you, Councillor Clement-Williams. Can I bring Craig back in? And thanks.
Of course, thank you, Chair. Absolutely, Councillor Williams, no problem at all. We'll make sure that when this report comes forward in the future, that narrative is included so it can be an easy read guide then for anyone who's going to look in and the report to see obviously then where the income and the expenditure has come from to hopefully give that narrative.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Are you happy?
Yes, great. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Clement-Williams. Are there any other members who wish to make any observations or questions on this particular item? I can see no indications, so we'll move forward to the recommendations that are listed on page 26 of the Cabinet Agenda Pack. I'm happy to propose it. Can I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Can members please indicate if they wish to abstain?
I see no indications.
Thank you, Tom. Members, if you do not indicate to the contrary, then I will take it that this decision is supported to Cabinet.
I see no indications to the contrary, Chair, so this has been commended.
Thank you, Tom. Moving along to our third item that we're scrutinising, and it's item 12. It's an update on the ongoing work to support the armed forces community in Neath, Talbot, listed on page 57 to 66 of the Cabinet agenda. Officers, would you like to add anything additional to this report?
Chair, I would just like to add, just for members' benefit, that the work that's outlined in this report today is supported by our Regional Armed Forces Liaison Officer, sometimes referred to as AFLOs. That role is funded by Welsh Government, and that role is a regional role. So although we're the host organisation, the AFLO also provides support to Swansea and Bridgend councils. Now, Bethan was our officer in that role. Bethan is sitting to my right here. Bethan, at the end of June, secured a role over in the Environment Directorate in a SPF-funded post. So we're now in the process of recruiting to the role, and we hope to have someone in the role by early September. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Let's move on. Do members have any questions from the officers, please? First up, I have Councillor Carol Clement-Williams.
First of all, Chair, I think that the camera was really funny then, because when she said she'd moved jobs. The position moved to an empty chair. So I just think that was really, really funny.
A good indication, Carol.
My
Yeah.
Apologies, Chair. I was
Oh,
the cameraman
Tammy,
for that one. Sorry.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Anyway, yeah. So just to say that I fully support the work that's been put in, and I know a lot of support has been put in. I'm not sure if it was meant to be the mainly the events that are. I mean, some of them are in June this year, but the majority of them are from last year. Is there a timetable for upcoming events, or are we still sort of working on that? Thanks.
Hello, Karen, would you like to respond to that, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so we got our Armed Forces Festival, the annual event that happens. So we have the actual concert on the 27th of October, and then we'll have a flag raising event then on the following day. Weather permitting, the flag raising will be out in the Civic Square, but if not, as we did last year, the flag raising event will be in the centre.
Thank you, Karen. Would you like to come back at all, Councillor Clement Williams?
Yes, please, Chair. I just think it would have been nice to have seen that in this report as well, to show that the work is ongoing, just for completeness, really.
Thank you, Councillor Clement Williams. I think that's duly noted. Okay, thank you. This report is for information only. We now move back to the Cabinet Scrutiny agenda. Agenda item 5 is the forward working programme. This item is just for noting, unless members have any other comments. I understand, I've been told it's a bit light at the moment, but currently the officers are looking at it to populate it further, and that at the next meeting of the Policy and Resources Scrutiny Subcommittee, then the work programme will be fully loaded, I'm being told. Okay, thank you. Agenda item 6. These are urgent items. You'll be glad to hear that I have none. And that's all it leaves me to do, is to thank you all for taking part this afternoon. Can I just make a special mention for Carol Clement Williams, to wish her mum a recovery. She's had a nasty injury. I know Carol's been away from home and back and forth to the hospital several times. So on behalf of the committee and the council, we'd like to wish mum a speedy recovery. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you all for coming, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.